piano stayed until dawn, long after everyone was gone. The chairs were sleeping upside down, but it kept singing to the room. A glass of whiskey near the bar, a lonely light, a fading star. The rain had left the window pane, yet something lingered all the same. The piano stayed until dawn, playing for no one, a melody without a name, a fire without a flame. The bartender was counting change. The silence felt a little strange. Outside, the first train crossed the sky. Inside, old memories refused to die. I watched the keys beneath the light, telling stories of the night, of lovers who forgot goodbye, and dreamers learning how to cry. The piano stayed until dawn, playing for no one, a melody nobody claimed, yet somehow called my name. Every note became a photograph, every chord a missing path, every pause between the lines held the echo of another time. The smoke was gone, the rain was through, but every song returned to you, as if the years had never passed, as if this night could somehow last. The piano stayed until dawn, while shadows carried on. And when the morning finally came, the room was not the same. The last note floated through the air like a prayer left hanging there. Then silence gently took its place and touched the room with grace. The piano stayed until dawn, long after everyone was gone. And in that quiet morning light, it played one last goodbye.
Two glasses on the table, one still half full of dreams, the other standing quietly like nothing's what it seems. The band has packed their music, the clock says nearly 3, but your empty chair beside me still feels occupied to me.
Two glasses, one empty seat, a story incomplete.
The night is almost over now, but my heart skips a beat. The rain stopped hours ago. The city starts to wake, yet every little memory is harder now to shake.
You laughed into your whiskey, you brushed your hair away. Funny how the smallest things are the ones that choose to stay. 2 glasses, 1 empty seat, a song without a beat.
The lights are getting softer now.
The silence feels so deep.
The bartender keeps polishing the same old glass again, as if he's giving lonely souls a little time to mend.
Outside, the first commuters are walking through the dawn. Inside this fading jazz bar, I still can't move along. 2 glasses, 1 empty seat, your shadow across the street.
A goodbye never spoken,
a love left incomplete.
the record keeps on turning,
Though nobody remains,
and every note reminds me of
all that time contains.
2
glasses, 1 empty seat, where yesterday and today meet.
The sun is slowly rising,
But I stay for one more song,
because somewhere in this silence
I still hear you sing along.
Goodbye written on a napkin in a corner of the bar. A few words and a coffee stain, saying more than letters are. The night was almost over. The last record softly played, while 1,000 unsaid feelings found the courage to be made. Goodbye written on a napkin, folded next to an empty glass. A simple note beside the silence, waiting for the dawn to pass. The rain had left the city, the clouds were drifting thin, but another kind of weather still lingered deep within.
gently, as if afraid to let it show that some stories reach their ending, even when we beg them not to go. Goodbye written on a napkin, the saddest song I knew. Not because the words were painful, but because they all were true. The bartender looked away, giving sorrow room to breathe. Some heartbreaks ask for witnesses, others ask to leave. The piano spoke in whispers, the trumpet answered low, like they already understood what neither of us could say. Outside the sky was brightening, inside time stood still. Every memory around us refused to lose its will. Goodbye written on a napkin, beside the morning light. A farewell too small for a lifetime, yet too heavy for one night. You left before I noticed, or maybe I chose not to see. Because endings become real the moment we agree. Now the napkin rests inside a book, hidden from the world somehow. But every time I find it, the night returns somehow. Goodbye written on a napkin, the ink has started to fade. Letters still refuses to go away. And somewhere in an old jazz bar, beyond the years we've known, a folded piece of paper remains, where goodbye once found a home.
One last whiskey before sunrise, one last shadow on the wall. The city waits beyond the window, but I'm in no rush at all. The rain has left the pavement shining, like a memory dressed in gold. And every drop upon the street looks a little like the old. One last whiskey before sunrise, before the daylight finds my face, before the music leaves this room, and time puts everything in place. The bartender says nothing, he understands somehow. Some stories end with silence, this might be one now. The record spins a little slower, the trumpet breathes its final sigh. A melody hangs in the darkness, like it forgot how to die. One last whiskey before sunrise, one last taste of yesterday, holding on to fading moments that the morning takes away. I remember how you smiled without needing any words. Some feelings live forever, even when they're never heard. Outside, the first train's coming, the tracks begin to sing. Inside, the room grows smaller around every little thing. One last whiskey before sunrise, one last look around this place. The smoke is gone, the rain is gone, but I still see your face. The glass is nearly empty now, the sky is turning blue, and somewhere between the night and day, I'm saying goodbye to you. One last whiskey before sunrise, the final song is through. Yet part of this old jazz bar will always stay with you. And when the morning finally arrives and the city comes alive, I leave this seat behind me, but tonight we'll survive.
The ashtray by the window still holds your cigarette. A little rain on the glass, and words we both forget. The street outside is quiet, the morning train is gone, but something in this old bar keeps playing the same song. You said you'd leave at sunrise, but sunrise came too soon. Now smoke is hanging softly beneath the yellow moon. The ashtray by the window remembers what we said. Two shadows in the corner, one heart that stayed instead. Don't say goodbye too loudly. Let silence take your place. The piano knows the sorrow I couldn't face. The whiskey lost its fire. The ice has disappeared. But every little memory is still sitting here. The ashtray by the window, the rain no longer falls, but I can hear your footsteps inside these lonely walls. If love was just a moment, then why does it remain like smoke above the table after the rain? The ashtray by the window still waits for one last light, a song for someone leaving before the end of night.
A melody nobody claimed was drifting through the room, neither sad nor truly happy, like flowers that forgot to bloom. The piano played it softly as morning touched the sky, a tune without an owner, a song that wouldn't die, a melody nobody claimed, yet everyone once knew. It sounded like a distant dream and somehow sounded like you. The bartender stopped working to listen for a while. The old clock near the doorway seemed to answer with a smile. Outside, the city woke up. The first train crossed the light. But inside this little jazz bar, it was still the end of night. A melody nobody claimed was floating through the air, like words left in a notebook by someone no longer there. The trumpet gently followed, the bass moved slow and low, and every note carried memories of years ago. Perhaps it belonged to lovers who never met again, or travelers passing through like sunlight after rain. A melody nobody claimed, yet no one let it go, because some songs keep living long after we should know. The final chord was quiet, the room became still, but the tune remains somewhere beyond the windowsill, a melody nobody claimed, still wandering free. And if nobody else remembers, it will always stay with me. The street lamp outside the bar was the last thing still awake, watching over empty sidewalks and every choice we didn't make. The rain had gone an hour ago. The clouds were drifting far, but the light kept shining softly from the street lamp outside the bar. The sign above the doorway was fading into dawn. The music had already ended, yet something lingered on. The street lamp outside the bar knew every face by heart. The lonely men, the dreamers, and those who fell apart. You stood beneath that amber glow, one hand inside your coat, the kind of silent goodbye nobody ever wrote. The first train crossed the distance, the city stretched and yawned, but neither one of us could leave, though night was nearly gone. The street lamp outside the bar cast shadows long and thin, as if it tried to hold us from disappearing in the wind. The bartender locked the doorway. The final chair was raised, and all the stories of the night felt wrapped inside the haze. You smiled a little sadly, then turned and walked away, leaving only footsteps for the morning to erase. The street lamp outside the bar still glowed against the blue, a witness to 1,000 nights
and one that belonged to you. Now every time I pass that road, no matter where you are, I remember what was left behind beneath the street lamp outside the bar. And when the light goes out someday, long after we've moved on, the memories it protected will keep quietly living on.
The cigarette smoke remembered you long after the night was through. It danced beneath the hanging light like it still belonged to you. The rain had washed the city clean, the streets began to shine. But memories don't leave that easily, they stay behind with time. The cigarette smoke remembered you more than I wanted it to. Every curl above the bar drew another picture of you. You sat beside the window once, a whiskey in your hand, listening to an old jazz song only you could understand. The bartender turned the record, the trumpet softly cried, and somewhere between the melodies a part of me still tried. The cigarette smoke remembered you when nobody else would do. The room kept getting emptier, yet somehow filled with you. Gathered inside, the shadows stayed. The night refused to disappear, though darkness slowly faded. I traced circles on the counter like you used to do, searching for a goodbye that never quite came true. The cigarette smoke remembered you, floating through the pale blue, a ghost of all the words we lost and all we never knew. The last flame finally faded, the final glass stood still, yet your name remains suspended above the windowsill. The cigarette smoke remembered you long after the night was through. And when the door closed quietly, it carried part of me too. I found a matchbook yesterday between the pages of a book. The name of an old jazz bar and a memory I couldn't overlook. The rain had stopped in Ginza, the streets were washed in gold. You laughed beside the doorway before the night grew old. A matchbook from yesterday, a small forgotten thing, yet every faded letter still makes my heart sing. The bartender was closing, the chairs were upside down, but we stayed talking softly while sleep covered the town. You drew a little circle and wrote your name in blue. Funny how a tiny mark can keep reminding you. A matchbook from yesterday, still resting in my hand, a ticket to a moment that time could never plan. The whiskey tasted warmer, the trumpet played so low. The song we never danced to still follows where I go. Years may pass like trains at dawn, disappearing from the track, but one small matchbook waits to bring the whole night back. A matchbook from yesterday beneath the fading light, holding all the words we lost inside a single night. The bar is gone now, the sign no longer shines, but your smile keeps glowing between those fragile lines. When the door closed softly, the night finally let go. The last light on the counter faded into a gentle glow. The chairs stood like old soldiers, the glasses all were dry, and somewhere in the silence lived the echo of goodbye. When the door closed softly, after everyone had gone, the room kept all the secrets it had carried all along. The piano sat in darkness, its stories safely stored. The trumpet no longer whispered, the records no longer return. Outside the sky was silver, the city breathed anew, but inside lingered fragments of nights that once were true. When the door closed softly, a chapter reached its end, for lovers and for strangers, for every fleeting friend. The ashtray by the window, the whiskey by the bar, the napkin with a farewell were never very far. The street lamp lost its purpose as daylight filled the street, yet every memory remained quietly complete. When the door closed softly, I thought I'd leave it all behind, but some places keep a heartbeat long after they're left behind. The bartender took one last look before turning out the light, as if thanking every shadow that had stayed throughout the night. The morning crossed the doorway, the darkness drifted free, and all the songs we listened to became a part of me. When the door closed softly, no applause, no final line, only the sound of passing time, and a love no longer mine. Yet somewhere beyond the sunrise, beyond the years and miles, another lonely jazz bar waits, with familiar lights and smiles. When the door closed softly, the story didn't end. It simply walked into the dawn and began again.